Hello, my friends, and welcome back. I'm Chisgule Gaming, and if you're new to my channel, every single year I do a summary of how much I've spent in Rise of Kingdoms, Call of Dragons, and in general talk about my spending across all of the channels I run, because I have a couple of them, and I'll just spoil it. Almost $190,000 on just Rise of Kingdoms and Call of Dragons in total over the last 6 years that I've been a full-time content creator. And I actually have recorded this video, been not happy with it, thrown it out, done it over like 3 or 4 times now. And I think this time we're going to nail it, because what I want to talk about is like why it is that I spend this in mobile games, why it is that I keep playing these mobile games, which obviously involve large amounts of spending. And I also want to talk about financial priorities, because I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not qualified to give financial advice. So you should not take it as such, and you should do your own research. But there's a few things that I can talk about that maybe you take as a direction for building your financial literacy. Okay, so let's get after it. Why the heck do I still play this game? And I actually, a couple reasons, but most importantly, enjoy the communities. That's it. I enjoy the communities that I play these games with. That's it, man. That's the big thing. Do I also enjoy the gameplay? Yes, absolutely. Does the gameplay sometimes frustrate me? I mean, like, yes, you've seen it happen on stream. Like, it happens, right? Like, as is the case with any hobby or game that you play, right? Like, and on the topic of hobbies and games that are kind of expensive, I mean, I've played, Warhammer 40K. I've played, some tabletop Star Wars space fighter game where you had to collect a bunch of figurines, like, Warhammer 40K. I played Magic the Gathering. I mean, I played a bunch of these hobbies that are collection games on top of having gameplay. And I think the thing that's interesting about this genre of mobile game, and the reason why I spent $2,200 a month in Rise of Kingdoms last year and $1,100 a month in Call of Dragons last year, is that not only do you build these incredibly dynamic communities where players genuinely count on each other to win and survive with your account and build your collection, but there is this collection element that, like, I really enjoy collection. Like, if you look at these hobbies that I just talked about, like, even the games I used to play before this, like, Diablo, etc., like World of Warcraft, involve collection of equipment and armor, weapons, etc., right? Like, collection, community, gameplay. Like, that's the trio that a game has to hit on for me to get excited. And the collection in a mobile game obviously can go in a direction that can get very, very spendy. Each one of these sets of equipment is at least $10,000 worth of materials if you had to just go and buy them without events. Probably more like $15,000, quite frankly. If you just look at the gem value of all of this equipment, which, it's legendary, it's got special talents, it's got iconic tiers to a pretty meaningful degree on some of these pieces. It is a lot, okay? The majority of my spending used to go to speed ups. Now it goes to equipment and armaments. And really, I would say the majority of the dollar spend is going into armaments, and the gem spend is going to equipment. And that's kind of where I'm at now. And I, used to do a very detailed breakdown of how much I was spending based off of exactly what bundles I bought. And I would spend literally hours classifying every single bundle and drop that into a video and say, like, I spent this percentage on troops, this percentage on commanders, this percentage on equipment. But with the addition of Flux scripts, it's not as easy for me to do that anymore. But Flux scripts have been, obviously just an amazing addition to the game for me, because if you aren't familiar with Flux scripts and how those work, a Flux script is basically a pre-purchase of a bundle. And then you exchange the script or the coins for the bundle, and, like, boom, you get the bundle at that time. So you can kind of pre-purchase your way into stuff and get extra goodies on top. And there's an official store for that you can check out. I'll put a link in the description. That's not a sponsored link. It's just the link to the store. All right. And so where am I going with this? Well, I've covered the reason I play, right? But let's talk a little bit more about the reason I spend. Because, like, obviously you can play this game without spending this much. Like, you can do that. But my strategy for this YouTube channel has been to always not just talk about the things, but not actually have them. So I'm like just theory crafting constantly, but to actually have all the stuff to be able to show it to you and how it actually performs. Like that's always been my goal. Not to talk about the things because I theoretically, have ideas about them, but because I actually use them, I'm actually firsthand having experience with the stuff, right? And that strategy for this YouTube channel has worked, right? Over the last 6 years, it's gone from literally 0 to almost 250,000 subscribers, which is amazing and incredible. And thank you for your support. And I know some number of people in the comments are going to be like, wow, must be easy being a YouTuber. But like, I'll tell you, if you think it'd be easy to be a YouTuber, you should totally do it. I work at least 12 hours a day, at least, because gameplay now counts as work, and you have to play the game enough to stay relevant in your kingdoms and honestly be a top performer, or people are going to criticize you tremendously. You got to still manage the relationships with all the people that you play the game with, by the way. You've got to script videos, record videos, learn all the software, hardware to record, script, edit, etc. videos. You need to edit videos, make thumbnails, learn how search engine optimization works for titles, comments, the tags, the description. This list goes on and on and on and on and on. I could talk for a long time about what it takes, right? And so I'm just mentioning that I've made this video for like 4 or 5 years in a row now. I know what people are going to say. They're going to say, must be nice. I do really enjoy what I'm doing. I actually love what I'm doing. I absolutely love it. Are there days where I'm like frustrated, like any job? Yes. But a part of the reason that for me personally, this all really works, and the reason I can spend so much time on this, because like I don't even take a shower without learning about games, quite literally. And it's funny, we did a poll on stream. That might sound weird, but we did a poll on stream where I was like, how many of you are listening to an audiobook or watching a YouTube video when you're in the shower? And it was like at least 40% of the audience. Like it was a lot of people. It might have been 60%. Like it was a big number. If you count all this time, even if I'm taking a walk and I'm listening to like another YouTuber talking about being a YouTuber, or even just watching a better YouTuber and learning from them, all of this time, at least 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. Easy, right? So being a content creator is not easy at all. I would say my wife is extremely supportive. She is extremely supportive of my spending strategy as well, because in the end of the day, it's like a net positive run, and I'm able to provide for my family by doing this full time. I talk so much that I'm actually starting to lose my voice as I do this video, which is really annoying, but also a consequence of constantly talking and recording, and especially being like really, really animated and amping up my level of excitement for recording videos, which is like a part of what you have to do for YouTube is take your level of excitement and multiply it by 100. Otherwise, it's just not going to come across on camera. This is why I spend what I spend. I not only enjoy it, I can provide for my family by doing it. And it meets this like insanely weird intersection of I really love gaming. I really love teaching people stuff. And I like collecting. And for mobile gaming, it hits this incredible sweet spot for me of all of those things. I've told this story in the past on stream where when I was in college, I had no clue what I wanted to do, as does everybody who's in college, right? But I went to the dean of the college and I sat down with them and we had a talk, and they had a PhD in chemistry and all this other crap that they'd done. And we had this long conversation. It was, like 30, 60 minutes about, I don't really know what I want to do. And I said, wow, I really like what you're doing now. And she's like, oh, well, if you want to be the dean of a college, like you need, to go get a master's and then a PhD. And I was like, I don't really want to do all that. And so I left that conversation not really knowing what to do, but the real takeaway was just get good at literally anything and then teach it. And like that gaming is such an obvious overlap. Like, how could I not see in hindsight my whole life I've been gaming? And, it's just, I never could have predicted that being a full-time content creator will be a thing where I could, with a straight face, say that, yes, over the last 6 years, I spent $189,000 just in these 2 games. It's probably closer to a grand total of like probably $250,000. Probably running all my YouTube channels pretty easily. Could be in that range. I haven't ever mapped all that out, which is weird. Maybe I should, but anyways. And like, that's what I do. And that's how I actually like make a living, right? Let's talk about that for a minute. Let's talk about financial priorities, right? So often in my videos, when I spend in mobile games, you will hear me say things like, I'm not a financial advisor, and this is not financial advice, which is true of what I'm about to say as well. But I say, consider saving for retirement, consider having an emergency fund, consider your family, consider your health and wellness. I don't say it quite like that typically, but like I list off, getting out of debt and staying out of debt. That's getting out of debt and staying out of debt, right? Like I list off these things that are potentially higher priority than spending in a mobile game. And, people spend their money in lots of different ways, and everyone needs to manage their own money. But like, at least in the United States of America, it's like absolute crisis over here. No one teaches children how to manage their money. The system expects that a kid is going to learn from their parents, but most parents don't know what to teach you, and they don't know how to manage money either. So it's just this like rich get richer weirdness going on where like the people who know how to manage money pass that on to their kids. And either you are really inquisitive and a very good learner and you figure out how to manage money, or you've built up so many years of bad habits that you're just screwed. And like, that's where most Americans are, which is really shitty. But I think that's almost certainly the case because most Americans do not have an emergency fund. So what I'm trying to tell you is when I look back to when I spent money before being a full-time content creator or even being a content creator at all, I just spent disposable income. I was just spending money I would have spent on Magic the Gathering or Warhammer 40K or some game I was going to buy to play, right? And like try out, like Ark Survival Evolved. That was fun for a little bit. It was fun playing on some custom servers with friends, right? Like, but it that's the way that I used to spend. I don't know. I mean, I could spend a bunch of time on this, but I just really wanted to take a meaningful amount of this video to emphasize that, like, just because I've spent that money and plan to continue to spend at the rate that I spend at does not mean that that's like what everybody should go aspire to do, right? Like, I totally understand that as a content creator, like I'm an influencer, and when I am spending in this way and showcasing like an account at this punch and running it the way that I run it, bro, I swarmed the hell out of literally every flag in Kingsland. It was insane, right? When I showcase that sort of gameplay, like most people can't do that and shouldn't aspire to do that. That's okay. You don't have to do that to have a hell of a time. It's why I have a second account. And on the second account, I don't play like that at all. And I have a great time. And it's actually frustrating. I've been in the same kingdom for 2 KVKs in a row, but I just enjoy the people here. I need to find a new additional community that I also enjoy and have one account here and one account there. I still have to figure out which account is moving, main or restart, which is a problem because I don't have that much time to figure this out. Whatever. Hopefully this video was entertaining to you or informative, right? Consider doing your own research on some of those financial topics because I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. But what you may find when you do research is that getting out of debt and staying out of debt is very critical. Having an emergency fund is very critical. Saving for retirement is very critical. And then just spending with your disposable income because you have cared for yourself and your family. Like, that's a great place to be. I wish you well in 2025. On this channel, you'll continue to see a bunch of the fun and crazy antics and gameplay that, spending at the rate that I spend at can afford. And also, I just want to emphasize, like, there's a lot of ways to enjoy the game without spending that amount of money. All right. If you want to see my 2023 and 2022 spending videos, check the cards in the end screen. I'm looking forward to an awesome year in Rise of Kingdoms. The updates have been absolute bangers. Call of Dragons as well. The updates have been absolute bangers. I feel like the last half of this year, and Cortex and I were talking about this, like really kicked into high gear for the quality of the updates. And I feel like more than ever, they are much closer than they literally ever have been to following what players are saying they want, which, like, surprise. It turns out players really like the updates when they follow what they say they want. But I am so hyped about them. So I am hyped going into 2025 and looking forward to doing all kinds of fun stuff in Rise of Kingdoms with you. Until next time, you have fun smashing your enemies. Take care, everybody.